What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at the final Digimon cards from Union Impact. I'm a little bit sad, if I'm honest with you. It's come to this. There are no more cards to look at, but we've got 4 cards to look at, and that is at least a very nice thing. And we might as well start off here with Agumon, who needs very little introduction because it's Agumon and we've seen a billion of them. Now, it's actually Black Agumon, someone told me, but it's just called Agumon as a card. And what we've got is a level 3 red Digimon, 2 cost to play normally, 1 cost to evolve, 4,000 power. Now, I've said a few times, I am not a fan of level 3s that you have to pay to evolve, because remember, if you go first, you start with 0 memory on your first turn, and the first card you play that takes any memory whatsoever will end your turn, and it would be nice to be able to evolve into a level 3, using a Digi-Egg that you just hatched, and then play another card. This stops you doing that, so straight off the bat, not a huge fan of that. But it's a 2 cost to play normally, 4,000 power Digimon. That's awesome. It's cheap to play normally, and it's more powerful than you would usually expect. That's alright by me. And we see this sometimes. Generally speaking, if they're a bit more expensive to evolve, they might be a bit cheaper to play and all of that. This is not a particularly unique stat line. I mean, Armadillomon, as an example, the one that came in New Evolution, has this exact same stat line as a vanilla Digimon. 2 to play normally, 1 to evolve, 4,000 power. But you know what? That Armadillomon sees a bunch of play in blue decks. Not to evolve, you don't really ever want to evolve it, but a 2 cost to play normally is as cheap as you're getting for a level 3. Then you add in the 4,000 power, and fine, you're not getting a fancy inheritable skill, but it seems pretty good to me. But if you want a fancy inheritable skill, might I introduce you to the level 4 Clockmon. Now this is a black level 4, and we got a 5 cost to play normally, which for a level 4 is fine. It's alright. 2 cost to evolve, which is what we see for the vast majority of level 4s. And 5,000 power, which is, it's about right for a level 4. This has pretty much got the stats we would usually be expecting. However, it's got an inheritable skill. On your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains 1,000 power. Now, this is a weird kind of skill to me. Now, this actually reminds me of kind of the inverse of the Starter Deck Agumon. Starter Deck Agumon gave you an extra 1,000 power on your turn. This gives you an extra 1,000 power on your opponent's turn. Do remember, of course, this is irrelevant for security Digimon because they won't be evolved, blah, blah, blah. This is essentially, if you're worried about being KO'd, off you go. I mean, let's say for argument's sake, I mention it a lot, it's very much a Digimon I'm playing around with trying to build decks with, as regular viewers of the channel will know, but he wore Greymon that came out in Ultimate Power. Big fan. Reboot and blocker, so you can block and then attack and then block and then attack and basically do the same thing every turn. It's awesome. And it's got 11,000 power, and most level 6s have 11,000 power. There's a bit of variance here or there, but 11,000 is the most common one that we see. So you can block an 11,000 power Digimon, but then you go down. Wouldn't it be awesome if you were a 12,000 power Digimon? Then you block them and you're 1,000 from being KO'd, but it doesn't matter because you're not KO'd. And then your opponent is KO'd, and that's hilarious because they are KO'd, and then you're good. And that's where this comes in. I like that you're getting a little bit of extra beef just as a kind of, hey, look, I'm harder to take out when I'm resting, but I really like it for the fact that you can put this under a blocker, and let's face it, black have more blockers than other colours. Black are the blocking colour, and then you're a more powerful blocker. That's what Clockmon does. That's the hook of Clockmon. It goes into black, which is the most blocking colour we've seen. Although that clock on the artwork does look really sad. That makes me a little bit sad thinking about it. And then your blockers are just more powerful and you're good to go. That's what Clockmon does. That's why we like Clockmon. And then we've got a couple of option cards we've not had a look at yet, and I'm kind of a fan. And they're both green as it happens. Apparently we'd seen all of the red and blue and purple and black, and we hadn't seen all the green. Never mind, yellow as well. What we've got here is Hidden Potential Discovered. It is a zero-cost option card, which I absolutely love. I can play it for free. Now, the security skill does add it to your hand. Usually, I'm not a fan of this, but given that it's free, then I'm good. I want option cards and security cards to activate so I don't have to see them come out of security and then pay memory to use them. But if it's not going to cost me any memory, then I want it in my hand so it's essentially available to play as and when I like. That sounds all right by me. Good work, team. But it's a main effector that I really like. If one of your green Digimon would Digivolve this turn, you may suspend one of your Digimon to reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 5. Oh. Yeah. It basically gives any of your Digimon download 5. You can reduce the cost of evolving into any Digimon by 5 by resting one of your other Digimon. Now, there is an important ruling thing here which we do need to address, and I'm absolutely sure about this one. I wish I wasn't. I wish there was some doubt, but unfortunately I am absolutely sure, and it makes me a little bit sad. But don't forget that Serasmon, which is coming in the set, allows you, when you're using download, to rest your opponent's Digimon rather than your own. But it is important to note this doesn't give download. It gives the same effect as download. Now, if this was a zero-cost option card that said one of your Digimon gains download -5 till the end of turn, that would be amazing, because then I'd be able to use Serasmon and I would be all over it. As it is, I'm not. But the fact of the matter is, 5 is about as much as you will ever spend. I mean, 5 is what it costs to evolve into Serasmon. Serasmon does naturally have download -3, but you still got to pay 2 costs to evolve. This is a zero-cost option card that will let you evolve for free. I'll let you figure out the maths on that one. But my point is that there is an awful lot of good that can be done here in terms of getting your big Digimon out nice and early and nice and quickly. Yeah, fine, you've got to rest one of your Digimon to do it, or suspend as it's actually known. But one thing which is really worth bearing in mind here, when you play a Digimon, it is not suspended, but you're not allowed to attack with it this turn. So the trick with download, or this as it were, is play a Digimon. I'm not allowed to attack with it anyway. Suspend it to reduce the cost of evolution. Now, of course, if you are suspended, that does mean that you can be attacked, whereas if you're active or unsuspended, you can't. But that's the trick I like going for. So there we go. That one's fun, but there is one more we need to have a chat about, and that is Positron Laser. And is this good? I'm not positive. It's a 6-cost option card, and it reads, up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then, if you have a blue Digimon in play, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to their hand, trashing all of the Digivolution sources. Now this, I can absolutely get behind. This is awesome. And by awesome, I mean the effect. The effect is awesome. I love the effect. It's just a very, very expensive card. Now, for what it's worth, as a security card, it basically does the same thing. But essentially what it does is it stops your opponent's Digimon attacking, or, well, just attacking, until the end of this current turn. Which, of course, can go very wrong. Because do remember that if your opponent is attacking and it's their last attack and this comes out, you can stop 2 of their Digimon attacking, but it doesn't matter because they've already finished attacking and it might be wasted. It could be amazing as a security card. You know, if it comes out first, if we see this the first time they attack, then you can basically turn them off and then laugh in their face, although please be nice, it's very important. But if it comes out near the end, they'll be laughing in your face and you won't like that very much now, will you? But the fact of the matter is, this does a lot. At the perfect situation, when this really goes well, you stop 2 of your opponent's Digimon attacking and blocking, and you take a 3rd Digimon and put it into their hand, getting rid of any evolution sources. So, let's take us to level 6. You're going to obviously be going after a level 6 here. If you hit the level 6, then they lose all their evolution sources, and yeah, fine. They still are absolutely allowed to play that level 6, but they're generally going to be paying like 10 to 12 memory to replay it from hand. That is not exactly what they're going to be looking to do very often. Now, you can only return a suspended Digimon to their hand. Any of the active won't be working, but if you do this properly, making 2 of their Digimon take a turn off while basically wrecking their best Digimon on the field, that seems worth it to me. Now, it is interesting to note you only get that second effect if you've got a blue Digimon in play. I am not sure about the cost generally. I think a 6 cost just to turn off 2 Digimon. I think there will be turns it's amazing, but I don't think they will be often enough to warrant it. I think if you get everything rolling, it's really good, but then it really is a hybrid blue-green deck we're talking about. Which reminds me of Desperado Blaster, which discarded 2 evolution sources from the bottom of all of your opponent's Digimon, and then if you had a green Digimon, you rested 1 of your opponent's Digimon that has no evolution sources. And it's a very similar thing going on here, of course, because you're once again looking at a hybrid blue-green deck. What I will say is, when we looked at Desperado Blaster, I said pretty clearly, I like this even if I'm just playing a blue deck with no green Digimon. I don't feel the same way about this card. When it comes to Positron Laser, I'm afraid I only really like it if you are playing a hybrid blue-green deck. So there we go. That's all the Digimon cards from Union Impact. Now don't worry, because we're still going to be following all the Digimon news, especially as we ramp up to the English language release. And we're going to be starting to look at a lot of Digimon decks moving forward over the next few days. So don't worry, the Digimon content absolutely is here to stay. I intend being the most comprehensive Digimon TCG channel around, and I think I can lay claim to that title with a straight face. I can look myself in the mirror and say that, and I see no reason why that should end anytime soon. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about these new cards, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice, and then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of good stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.